Hi, ladies. Welcome to another show. What I would like you to do if you're in here, hey, Vivian, is please give this video a like and also do me a favor. Oh my goodness, I was just sitting here talking, y'all. So my computer died. Okay, so excuse me for that. If y'all can do me a favor and let me know if the music is overpowering my voice, that would be helpful. Also, if you're just coming in here, please like the video. Let me know about the music though before I start because the last stream I did, I felt like the music was too loud, and I didn't realize it until after. I mean, people still watch, so. She said a little. Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay. So, y'all, welcome to another episode. As you can see by the title, this video is for my professional crowd. The information that I'm providing, it can definitely work for multiple business models, but of course, this is being made with the beauty industry in mind. Let me post this to Instagram. And I'm really excited about this because the information that I'm getting ready to provide with you all, not just on this live stream, but on the Sitting Pretty Pro channel as well. When I tell you all, this took me from hating and falling out of love with doing hair to getting back in touch with my craft, getting back in touch with um, literally this being something that brought joy to me. Because the reality is sometimes you can really love something, but if you're in the wrong environment or you're with the wrong people, then it can actually have an effect on how you are experiencing what you're doing. So I've been in a place where I've quit doing hair several times. I've quit doing hair several times. And when I say quit, what I really mean is I temporarily stopped because at the end of the day, I'm still here. Each and every time that I quit or I remove myself, oh, excuse me, I'm drinking a smoothie right now, y'all. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Each and every time that I remove myself from the industry, I reevaluated and I reflected on, the things that were going wrong, what I didn't like about it, and I came up with solutions to better position myself to eliminate and extract those problems out of my life. And it has made me grow and grow into a better, stronger, practitioner as well as a business owner. So this information right here, I'm telling you all, especially in this current economic climate, this is going to make or break a lot of people, because the reality is where we're going, you're going to see a mass exodus from the beauty industry. And what we're seeing is a separating of the wheat from the chaff, for real, because a lot of people their businesses are gonna soar, and a lot of people's businesses are gonna go straight down, and they are gonna be wiped out completely, just like we saw with the pandemic. And the reality is, it really comes down to adaptability. Those who are able to adapt are gonna be those who are able to survive. And I think that's a quote by let me see what that quote is. It's not the strongest. Let me see, who is this who made this quote? Because the information I'm telling you, the information I'm getting ready to drop on this podcast alone, but not only this one, but the entire Sit and Pretty YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed to the Sit and Pretty YouTube channel, I put the link in the chat so you can, it's pinned, and make sure you subscribe, because I'm telling you all, if you want to survive this shift, if you want your beauty business to continue to not just survive this current economic climate, but to thrive, this information is it. So this is by Charles Darwin. And his quote says, "Is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Okay. So me being more flexible in my approach, me being willing to continuously go back to the drawing board, is what helped me grow stronger and stronger. It's what helped me have the longevity in my business. And even in the times where my niche was not super popular, I was still earning six figures with a small clientele. I was still thriving, despite moving to a new city where I didn't have any clients. I went from, literally working in a juice bar to, in less than a year, earning six figures. In less than 3 months back in the salon, going from booth renter to salon suite owner, off of this information and the principles that I'm getting ready to share. So if you all can do me a favor and like this video, if you're a professional and you know another professional who could benefit from this information, have the abundance mindset and pass it along, because this information is helpful, y'all. So when I get these likes up, because right now it's saying I only have one like and there was just 7 people in here, we'll go ahead and move forward. Go ahead and like the video, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't even like the video, which is free, say bye to your beauty business. If you can't invest even something that's free, bye. Because this information I'm getting ready to share with you all is going to require an investment. It's going to require an investment of your time. It's going to require an investment of your money, etc., your brain power. So if you want to get the best clients, but you're not willing to invest, you can say goodbye, because it's not for you. I had to invest a lot. I had to invest into, reshaping the way I thought about things, reshaping my outlook on life. I had to also reinvest a lot back into my business, right? I'm not that one who wants to do hair out the house. I'm not that one, who wants to penny pinch because I want to have the maximum amount of profit, but I'm dealing with some of the lowest quality clients because I'm not willing to invest. I'm not cheap. So go ahead and tap into this wealth frequency. This is the wealth frequency on this channel. Give the video a like. It's free. If you can't like the video, say goodbye to your beauty business. Go ahead and go to Indeed and start filling out them applications for something else, girl, because you're going to need it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hi, Natalie Lopez. Oh, hey, Natalie. Oh my gosh. Hi, Natalie. Hola, chica. All right, y'all. So we're about to get into it, right? So I got my notes here. I really sat and I wrote down my bullet points because I wanted to make sure that I touch base on everything, right? So I'm just going to say right now, And this is no shade to the common man, because at the end of the day, everybody has a place in society, and we all choose where we want to be in society, right? Based on being comfortable. Now, some people, everybody has a different comfort zone, and then you have some people who are willing to be uncomfortable to get to a higher position. Everyone is not willing to do that. Therefore, everyone is going to have a different place in society, but everybody's place matters. I want to clarify that. She said virtual hug. Thank you, girl. So I want to clarify that. Like, the information I'm saying is not to say that certain clients aren't important or anything like that in the world, period. But it is to say that when it comes to running a business that's actually profitable, that's not going to make you miserable, where you can still live out your purpose and profit, all clients are not beneficial to your business. And the reality is, I'm sure some of y'all already know that now. I told y'all I've quit and left from being behind the chair on several occasions, right? So the reality is, if you build a clientele based around the common man, your business is going to collapse right along with this economy. And I know that's a strong statement, but it's real. If you build a clientele based around the common man, your business will collapse right along with the economy, right? So I want to share a story with you all that just happened recently. Literally recently, as in yesterday. And that story is this. What in the world? So right here on the screen, you can see there's a woman in a white coat holding my new product from Azara Cosmetics. This is a scalp elixir, right? This woman in this picture, this is one of my clients who is a dentist. And not only a dentist, but she runs her own practice, right? And yesterday, or this week, I had a dentist appointment set with another office. And then I remembered, I'm like, why don't I just go to my clients? Because my other client, who is also her sister, she also runs the practice with her, right? And I was thinking to myself, why don't I go? And y'all, let me know if this music is too loud, because if so, I'm going to turn it down before I keep talking. Before I move forward, y'all, let me know if it's too low in the comments. I mean, if it's too loud. Hi, Planet 7. Y'all, let me know if the music is too loud, and then we will go ahead and proceed, because I didn't like in that live stream yesterday how loud the music was. Like, it was too loud. She says she doesn't even hear it. Okay. Well, that's terrible. Okay, let me see. Let me just double check from my phone. Okay, it seems like it's not too loud. So thank you. So in this picture, this is one of my clients, like I said, who owns her own dental practice. And I went ahead and scheduled with her because I'm like, why don't I just go and support their business instead of going and giving that money to a stranger? So yesterday, I got the opportunity to have my dental exam with one of my clients and also bring her some Azara Cosmetics. Now, the reason I wanted to point that out to you all is because women like this are the exact reason that I was able to fall back in love with my craft. And not only that, but as I become happier with what I do, also earn way more and accelerate my business much faster than if I was still dealing with the clientele that I used to deal with. Now, prior to being able to have a clientele that is composed of mostly women like this, which is a professional clientele, just 6 years ago, I had a clientele that was mostly composed of exotic dancers, Walmart workers, call center workers. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with these archetypes, but the reality is, if you want to build a profitable business, when it comes to building a service-based business where your time is basically being traded, which is a very limited resource, it's draining and it's taxing, because in order to accommodate a clientele of common people, you have to lowball your services and also do way more work. So for example, when your services are priced correctly to where you are still able to profit, not only offer a great experience to your clientele, but also profit on top of that, you're able to actually work with less clients and earn more. But when you are trying to base a clientele around a archetype of a client that needs to save money, you have to sell your time and you have to sell your services cheap, therefore resulting in you taking way more clients and being burnt out way faster. So in my opinion, when we see all of this, especially in the textured hair industry, because textured hair is so time consuming, period. It doesn't matter if you have a high earning clientele or you have a low earning clientele, regardless, it's still the same hair, and it does require way more work than if you were to deal with straighter hair types. That's just the reality. And what tends to happen is, what we can see now, a lot of stylists trying to figure out ways where they can boost their income and keep doing what they're doing and be profitable. And what that looks like in today's time is cutting back on services such as the shampoo, which is tragic and very detrimental to your business and your clients, and it does devalue your service. It looks like adding all of these different fees, which makes it look like you're nickeling and diming, and it turns your clients off. And it looks like these bad attitudes that a lot of people are encountering in their salons, because what they don't realize is their stylist is overworked, which is at no fault of the client. What is at fault is the stylist's inability to, take the time to reflect on her business and try to learn more about how can I become more profitable without cutting back. So if you're just coming in here, please give this video a like. If anything happens with the sound, y'all let me know. But the reality is, a lot of hairstylists, it doesn't matter if you're in the textured hair care industry, if you do straight hair, the reality is a lot of hairstylists have no understanding of economics and are financially illiterate. They have no business acumen, because you're dealing with creatives who in reality, they might want the independence to compose their vision for their salon the way they want to, but they don't have the big business acumen to do it in a proper way. So this is exactly why I'm creating Sit and Pretty Pro. So if you're just coming in here, make sure you click the link in the comments, which is the pinned comment, so you can subscribe to that channel and see the different content that I'll post over there that's specifically geared towards professionals. But ultimately, y'all, this concept that I'm presenting to you all in this podcast is based upon a very simple principle. And this isn't a new principle, but I have my own way of naming it, right? And that principle is, there being the difference between the wealth frequency and the poverty frequency, right? The reality is, you have the choice to tap into whichever one you're going to tap into. But when you choose to tap into the poverty frequency, because that's the mindset you have, that mindset looks like, in order for you to profit, you have to cram. And what cramming looks like is double booking your clients, to where you're dealing with 3, 4, 5 clients at a time. And it's not to say double booking is bad, because when you have it set up properly, especially if you have a salon assistant or you have your services coordinating to where you can do that. For example, maybe if you're someone who does color, or you're even doing something like roller sets, one of your clients has to be under the dryer while you can actually service the other. It is possible to double book in a seamless way, but it requires a strategy. But I'm not talking about double booking with strategy. I'm talking about just double booking to double book, trying to maximize the time the best that you can. That's the scarcity and the poverty mindset, is you need to cram and contract and try to hold on and get as many people in as you can in order to profit. The abundance frequency says to expand, which is that looks like raising your prices and expanding with the expectation that you can attract at least 1 or 2 clients who are going to pay that price. So I'm going to put this into business or like numbers so you all can actually look at the numbers. You may have a stylist who maybe she's one of these stylists who do all kinds of things, which I think is never the right choice. But that's what some people think they have to do because that's the old school cosmetology thought process. You are a jack of all trades and a master at none. So this person has the scarcity mindset, and their approach to trying to be profitable is taking on as much business as they can at once because they don't know when they're going to get the opportunity again. So that looks like you're in a salon and you're doing 4 and 5 clients at one time, and these services don't coordinate. So it's not beneficial for your clients' time. They're sitting there stagnant for long stretches of time in their appointment, and you are servicing one at a time. So let me put this in I'm trying to put this into terms for people. Suppose you're a stylist. Again, you do multiple things. Maybe you do shortcuts, you'll do a weave, and you'll do silk presses, right? Because I've actually seen this with my own eyes. And you have 2 shortcut clients at once, and it kind of works out because one of them is under the dryer. They have to get their hair wrapped. Yo, how's the audio in here? Because it keeps saying my connection is low. So you have one client who is a shortcut client and is under the dryer. And then you have another shortcut client who you're curling. But then you have a client who's there to get a silk press. So you are shampooing her hair, and then you put a cap on her hair, and you have her sitting, maybe deep conditioning for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you have another client there who's there to get a weave. And you have all of these people there at once. None of these services coordinate. So what happens is you're upsetting your clients, and it's eating away at their salon experience, right? Especially in today's time where people don't have that same patience that they may have had in the early 2000s and the 90s, where people came into salons and they talked to the other patrons and they read magazines. There weren't cell phones like that had the access that they do now to where you're online and just different things. Information moves much faster now, and people don't have the same level of patience. So what ends up happening in situations like that is that may work for a clientele of people who don't value their time. And generally speaking, that's going to be people who are lower earning. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be honest about it. But when it comes to wanting to attract a clientele that does have the means, you have to understand that the number one principle for people who do have the means is maximizing the way that they can use their time. So if you get to a place where you're trying to attract clients who have the means, but they don't have the time, the number one thing you have to do is protect that person's time. So you're already repelling those kind of clients. Because again, people tapped into the wealth frequency understand that the only luxury there is in reality is time. And that's why those people use their time in a way to where they end up making more money, because they understand that's their only asset is time. On the flip side, people tapped into the scarcity frequency. They don't value their time. That's why they're on the shade room. That's why they're on YouTube for hours and not consuming content that's going to add value to them, but just entertainment. They value entertainment more than they value their time, which is why they don't make money. So that works for a certain type of client. But when you're trying to attract another type of clientele, that simply doesn't work. So said that to say, if you're just coming in here, I told the story about how I needed to get my teeth cleaned, and I went and I patronized 2 of my clients' dental practices. because this is the type of clientele that I've built. And this is the type of clientele that has helped me restore the love for what I do and also boost my income. Now, where this shift came in for me, because I told y'all before, I went from a clientele that was mostly composed of exotic dancers, people who worked at Walmart, call center people, who were honestly, I hated doing hair. I loved what I did, but after dealing with these clients, I hated doing it. They were always late. They didn't tip. It was a lot of different attitudes. It was just issues that I don't have to deal with today. And I had one client, this was back in 2015, and her name was Rosie. And Rosie was an attorney. And I remember, I'm gonna change this music because it's irritating me. I just feel like it don't match the vibe. So I had this one client named Rosie, and she was an attorney. And I also had another client named April. But out of all of the clients I had at that time, Rosie and April were my favorite clients. And I say this respectfully. I realized they were my favorite clients because they were respectful. They had class. They tipped me extremely well. If the service was $80, they were tipping like $70 on top. They were timely. I mean, they didn't give me the issues. I enjoyed the conversations I had with them. And when I walked away temporarily from being behind the chair because these people, most of my clients, I couldn't stand them respectfully. I reflected and I thought like, well, who are my favorite clients? And I thought about my favorite clients, especially Rosie. And I thought to myself, well, why do I like Rosie? And I realized, well, the difference between Rosie and all of these other people was, it's not like she was the oldest client I had, but she was of a certain age range. She was about like mid 30s at that time. She was a professional and she was highly earning. Rosie wasn't trying to get me to do all these ponytails and different styles I didn't like. She stuck with classic styles, which is what I prefer to do. She paid me well, and I didn't have to deal with all of the extra that I was dealing with the other clients. And it was from that moment, after taking a hiatus, that I reflected on that and I built an archetype around Rosie. Now, Rosie was my client from like 2015 to 2016 until I relocated to Las Vegas. But I didn't reevaluate and enforce this into my business model until 2016, 2018. So this was like not right off the bat. So before I had really came to this conclusion and I realized this, I had dealt with this. Okay, let me put it like this. So at the time when I was in Atlanta and then I was moving to Vegas, I had an Instagram. And at the time, even though people were marketing on Instagram for hair back in like 2016, it was nowhere near as saturated as it was then. It was nowhere near. I've been marketing my services on Instagram since 2011, so I've really seen the evolution in the competition of marketing your services online, right? Back then, it wasn't like people were really, it's not that people weren't paying for ads, but that wasn't like a necessity to internet marketing like it is now, or social media marketing like it is now, right? So upon relocating to Las Vegas, I already had appointments booked because before I left, I was posting on the hashtags for Las Vegas, right? So when I moved to Vegas, I didn't know anybody in terms of the beauty business. I didn't have a salon to be in. I was calling around, trying to get work in different places. But I told myself, until I find a place to work and until I get my information and stuff transferred so I can be legit, I had to do house calls. I was just doing house calls. Now, I was doing some house calls in Atlanta, but it was for specific clients. It was either for clients that I really had relationships with or clients who had the money to do house calls. But when I went to Vegas, I was doing house calls for just anybody, for complete strangers, because I didn't have anywhere else to service them. which from that stretch of time and that experience, I don't recommend house calls to strange clients, and I especially do not recommend house calls to people who don't have the means to house call. And I'll talk about that in a whole other video. But if a person doesn't have the ability to pay a $200 fee for you to do a house call on top of their service, they can't afford a house call, and you should not build a clientele based upon house calls, in my opinion, in these times. But that's a whole other topic, and we'll talk about that on Sitting Pretty Pro. But these different clients that I was attracting ultimately led me to really, I stopped doing hair for a complete year. I was doing this from Las Vegas to California, and it's like I just kept coming into contact with more of these same clients that I did not like, who reminded me of the ones I didn't like from Atlanta, right? And so, said that to say, I took a moment. I didn't think about hair for like a year, y'all. I didn't even do my own hair. Around that time, my hair was short, so I would do wigs. I didn't even do my family's hair. I was so sick and tired of hair. That's when I started pursuing like a whole other business with my vintage resale shop online and things like that. But after several months of not doing hair, I had a random epiphany of, well, what would happen if I relaunched my business and I rebranded it in a different way, right? And that's when I started to reflect on the situation where I told you with my client Rosie, and just noticing the differences in between the clients. And after pointing out the details, like, okay, well, Rosie's a professional. Rosie is also in that 35 age range. She gravitates towards the classic styles, which is the ones I prefer to do the most. I also realized that my price point, and my price point was entirely too low. And in order for me to get back out there and to render these services in a way that I love, I was going to have to significantly increase my prices. So I'm going to talk about this particular point, like how I was able to go from charging like $125 to charging $250, which now I charge well above $250 for that service. But it required a mindset shift, and I had to position myself much differently in the marketplace to justify that price and to attract a whole other clientele. So when everybody else was doing all this, all these specials and just the ghetto marketing, I'm going to call it the ghetto marketing, that's when I changed, and I did what now is everybody else wanting to do, an experience-based salon experience. I was doing this 5 and 6 years, like 5 years ago, right? And it all came from reflecting back on, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it differently. And what were the clients I actually liked? And examining Rosie, my client's profile, and building a clientele around her. So if this is making sense, y'all, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. But essentially, where a lot of people are today, I was there before. And you can completely shift and reframe your business by reframing yourself, because this didn't come overnight. I didn't go from having exotic dancers and Walmart workers to building a clientele where the minority of my clients today are workers, like worker bees. And I'm not saying it to be derogatory or anything, but the reality is I went from a clientele that was mostly composed of the common man and then a few high value clients, to going to a clientele of mostly high value clients, and I have a few exceptions. And it took a complete reformation of my approach and my business model. So y'all, let me know what you think in the comments before I move forward, because the comments are empty. Okay, I haven't really ventured into the professional conversation. Most of my videos are geared towards clients. But y'all let me know in the comments, like, are you a beauty professional? Are you a customer? Are you a consumer? What do you think of the conversation thus far? If you have any questions in regard to this topic, drop them below so I can make content based around your questions on Sitting Pretty Pro. And again, if you're not already subscribed to that channel where I will create information in videos and content specifically for professionals, whether you're a lash tech, whether you're a hair braider, a hairstylist, a colorist, uh, maybe you have a massage business, it doesn't matter. The information still applies to service-based personal care businesses. So y'all let me know in the comments before I continue. If I don't hear nothing, I'm gonna just assume y'all ain't interested in the topic. What do you think thus far? What do you think thus far, y'all? Because I'm providing a lot of value. Providing a lot of value. This information, it took me years to figure this stuff out. Like literally, I had to study. I invested so much into business courses. It took me a lot to figure this out. And what I'm essentially doing is condensing that information and providing it to you all for making it much more accessible. She says she's starting a juice business. Hey, girl. Now, juice is slightly different because that's a product business, but you can still implement these principles for sure when it comes to the marketing of attracting a certain clientele because it matters. So, going back to what I was saying, let me see what else did I have in my notes. It was at that moment that I realized that in order for me to continue in this business, I was going to have to make some changes. I was going to have to market to a specific age range of women. I was going to have to market to a specific demographic of women, occupation wise, which was professionals. And I was going to have to elevate my marketing and elevate the salon experience so that it would justify the price point. And that's the abundance mindset. The scarcity mindset is, okay, I can't make this work, so let me quit. The abundance mindset is, you know what, this is what I want and this is my expectation. And instead of saying it's impossible, I'm just going to have to figure out a way for me to make this work. So, literally, in a year from when I took my last client in about December of 2016, out of it was a house call client out of the Los Angeles area, and I remember that appointment like it was yesterday. It was a referral. That particular client, I didn't do hair for a year after her. Terrible, terrible, terrible experience. That was the last time I would do a business model based on, you know, common prices. That was the last time. That was the last time I charged 125 for a sew-in. That was the last time. That was the last time I did a house call for a person who ain't have the means to get house calls done. That was the last time. And I went from that to having clients who are pharmaceutical brand reps, attorneys, doctors, dentists. One of my clients even owned a college, and that's just one of her streams of income. And what's even more amazing about that, you know, because for the most part, my channel is for those of you who do textured hair, you have textured hair. While I do have a diverse clientele, I have Hispanic clients, I have Caucasian clients, European, I'll have all types of clients. The bulk of my clients are women who are either of African American, Caribbean, African descent with textured hair. And these are the women occupying these positions in high society. So you don't necessarily have to switch niches, even. I'm not telling you all to go and, okay, only do cuts and colors for a specific demographic. While this information can apply wherever you are in the industry, you can still attract high value clients while doing textured hair is the point, because there are women with textured hair who are high value. And I know some people are gonna say, what does high value mean? Because they don't know business, right? So we're talking about high value in terms of to your business. How valuable is a customer to your business? Because just because somebody intrinsically has self worth, just like we all do, that don't mean they're valuable for your business model. That doesn't mean they're gonna add value to your business. And what you have to do, especially in these times, is you have to eliminate and extract all of the clients that are costing you more than they're making you. And when I say cost, and we're going to talk about the difference between cost versus price and these different concepts on Sit and Pretty Pro. If you haven't subscribed, click that link in the chat, that pinned comment. But the reality is, cost is not just, it doesn't come down to the price of the service, because somebody could maybe pay you $100 and it might make up for the service, but maybe they're late. Maybe they have an attitude. Maybe they want to bring their children and their friends and stuff to appointments. Maybe every time you do their hair is something wrong. That person, even though they may be paying you the price you wanted, they're costing you more of your energy. They're costing you more of your time. That person is a low value client to a business. And the reality is, I can say from experience, I've noticed a difference in dealing with people on the higher economic strata than those who are on the lower economic strata when it comes to my business. I went from, being scared to even eat while my client is under the dryer or something, or, just dealing with people who are treating me like a damn slave worker, to a clientele of people who not only pay my price that's above the common price, not only tip me extremely well on top of that, not only refer their friends, not only bring me gifts, but just have literally elevated my life. And it's not like I'm working for them as a slave. I'm there because they see the value of my service and they see the value in my life, and they want to invest in that because they want me to add value to their life. It's a completely different dynamic. And the crazy thing is, some of your best clients are going to be the ones who will pay you more. When you get to dealing with people in a different tax bracket, yes, you're going to have a few, but you just cycle them out as well. But the point is, high value clients who will pay you more are way better to deal with on all levels, y'all. And I just want y'all to get to a place where you experience that. So the reality is, every stylist is not going to be able to make this shift, because like I told you all, in order to make this shift and even appeal to these customers, I had to change a lot within myself, and I had to change my outlook on life. I had to, you know, educate and learn a lot. And the reality is, while I had the luxury of doing this 5 years ago, especially because not only did I do this because I was so annoyed with my clients, but I also had a picture of the future. I hadn't worked in a recession. And I always thought about what would happen in a recession to my business, right? So from that moment, I also made sure that I recession proof my business. And what recession proofing my service based business looks like, not only diversifying my income, but also making sure that my services are rendered to those who, even in tough times, are still thriving. It's the rich get richer um concept, that even in times of despair, you're going to have people who still thrive. Y'all seen in the pandemic, certain people, because of their mindset, while other people were going down, some people were starting businesses. Some people were becoming the most productive they've ever been. Some people made the most money they ever been made, because adversity is going to affect people differently. Again, based on the scarcity and the wealth frequency, just depending on where people are. So pressure makes diamonds. For some, is going to crush others. But your goal in this current economy needs to be to get into the spaces and present yourself valuable to those who are going to become diamonds in this pressure. And this is going to be a little bit more difficult in this time, because the way our society is going and the place we're in society, security is such a big issue right now, right? So 5 years ago, I was able to go and, live in a certain neighborhood, even though I wasn't living in the mansions in the neighborhood I lived in. I was able to rent in a certain neighborhood, which gave me the access and gave me the proximity. I was able to observe the different lifestyles and the way people lived and the mindset. And I was able to go and apply those things to myself in a timely manner, to where now I've built a reputation and a model to where I only attract, for the most part, these kind of people. I have a few people, but just based on my prices and my marketing, I've learned to repel low value clients. And this is what I want to teach you all. But the unfortunate thing is, in this current climate where security is an issue, when it comes to talking about high value clients, now celebrity doesn't equal high value. I don't want to say I have a no celebrity policy, because I will service a celebrity, but I don't prioritize or consider celebrities higher value to me than my everyday clients. Because at the end of the day, you'll see a celebrity one time and that be that. But my clients are going to be there for me, and I'm going to be there for them on a regular basis. So a celebrity client to me is, you're just a regular person too, and if you're going to go through the same process as everybody else. So when I say high value, I'm not talking about celebrity clients, because most of the times that's not high value. Those are people who want free stuff. It's just not the same. They want you to go out of their way. They want you to do house calls, and that's just not. Some people want that type of business model, and you can definitely build it. That's just not the business I was going for. So when I say high value, I mean professionals with different titles, such as those that I named. The way our society is going, people aren't going to get the same proximity to. You're going to be going to school, like your kids are going to be going to school, you're going to be going to church, you're going to be shopping. The way society is going, you're going to be with people of your kind. You see what I'm saying? Just because of the security issue. So the information I'm providing to y'all today, I'm going to be real, or what I'm talking about in these concepts I'm sharing with you all, you can still apply different pieces, but the reality is the current economic state is going to affect the access you have. So what I mean is, if you're a stylist and you don't necessarily have a ratchet clientele, but you do have a clientele of you have more of a middle to lower middle class clientele, kind of people who are just getting by, who are really going to be affected by this, it's going to be a bit easier for you to make this transition and more realistic for you to make this transition than somebody who is literally in their house, whose clientele is composed of extremely low income to low income clients. I'm going to be honest about that, because a lot of what I'm teaching y'all comes down to proximity. It comes down to language. Language is a big thing. Being able to speak, being able to code switch. What I mean is, yeah, I can get on here and talk country to y'all and be like, girl, what they talking about? Da-da. But I know I can't go to my clients saying stuff like that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because even in the video I did yesterday or 2 days ago, where the lady was talking about her different fees and her pregnancy fee and all of these different things, and she was cursing in the comments, and just displaying just displaying very unprofessional behavior, even down to how she was communicating on social media. That type of stuff does these types of things, a stylist like that, and I'm going to pull up the examples of what I mean. I'm going to pull up the example, because I understand everybody didn't see that. But stylists with this, who are on this frequency, I'm just going to be honest and say this ain't realistic for everybody. But for those of you who have, more proximity, you have, more of a self-awareness, it's going to be a lot easier for you to make this shift. So I was talking about the lady who was like, she's pregnant with twins. She's almost 9 months. She's still working. when she had a twin, she will no longer have an extra fee. She's big as hell, and she still does her ish, and it's just the extra fee. Da da da. The reality is, y'all, but those subtle soft skills, being able to pick up on social cues, and you know literacy, not just like financial literacy, but I mean like literally being able to talk properly, being able to write properly. Those things are going to affect this. So the reality is, this information ain't for everybody. But if you already have, again, the proximity, you have the access, is going to be much easier for you. And there's still kind of a window, you still have an opportunity to do simple things like, maybe you don't live in a super affluent neighborhood, but maybe you live near one, in the suburb that's decent. Maybe you still have access to, because social media matters for sure. Social media marketing is important, but a lot of interactions are also going to come from where you are in real life. What gyms are you going to? What grocery stores are you shopping at? It's not to say you should go to certain places and solicit, because that's not always professional, especially when you're dealing with high value clients. But where are you able to network? Things like that. This is the time you really need to be doing this. This is like crunch time, virtually and in person, because it's going to come a time where people aren't going to be just traveling all over like they used to. People are going to be priced out of certain areas, etc. And this isn't the fun part of this conversation, but it's real. So I'm going to end with this. And say that in order for you to make this shift, especially as a texture hairstylist, you're going to have to completely change the way that you approach rendering services. You're going to have to change your outlook. I find that a lot of women with textured hair view services like a product, so there's just a standard rate. They're not really accounting for the time, the product that's going into rendering services and different things like that. You're going to have to change your outlook. I told you all before, services are not for everyone. Services are a luxury and not a need. So that's a big mindset shift that you have to make. And you also have to become more familiar with how the economy works. And the reality is, and these are the hot topics. These are touchy topics, but understanding these topics and understanding how society works is going to help you better shift your marketing and your business model. I'm telling you. Our economy in America and society, period, around the world, was built upon an underclass. We got to be real. And the reason I say that is because, at least in our country, we kind of have this middle class lifestyle where even if you can't afford things, especially because of debt and credit, you can have access. You'll just have to pay off at a later date. But if you want to shift with the times, you got to shift and understand that those structures are collapsing. There are two classes today. And what you have to do is come up with solutions for those who are unable to afford services anymore. And that's through simple things like education, equipping people with what they need to render the services themselves, since they can't necessarily pay someone else. You still have to provide, or you should still provide. You should still provide for those people. It's just going to be to another degree. Doing what I'm doing here online is an example of that, because I understand everybody don't have access. So you can create access in other ways, and you're going to have to get creative with that. But you have to understand that the way the economic system is set up, especially going forward in America, and just look at all of the other countries, the underclass services the top. The underclass is not meant to be serviced. And that's why you're seeing everybody in the comments now that a lot of stylists are wanting to raise their prices and stuff. They're saying, oh no, well, I'm not paying that price. I'm just going to do it myself. You have to look and change the way that you're building your target audience. Are you building your target audience upon people who can actually afford your services? Or are you trying to, undermine and shortcut and charge these cheap prices to appeal to people who render services themselves? What I mean is, instead you got to go from, I'm trying to say, it feels weird saying this because I understand people are so politically correct these days, but this is just the reality. I'm telling you, this is reality. Instead of sitting there and trying to build your clients based on, your Walmart clerks, your call center peeps, your even teachers, people in these different service kind of positions themselves, just not necessarily service skill set based services. You need to shift and start appealing to those who are being and can afford to sustain paying for services. I hope that makes sense. Is this making sense to y'all? But the reality is that's going to come with that's going to require a big investment. I invest a lot back into my clients. I mean, I have to pay, there's just a lot. So you can't sit here and not want to invest back into people and then expect to get the best clients, because that's not reality. You can't expect to attract the best clientele and you want to work out of your house. You can't expect to want the best clientele and you still want to work in these salons where there's men working in there and this stylist is on the phone and this one is double booked. You can't expect to be lowballing, in attracting the best. You have to first embody that yourself, and you're going to attract the right clientele. So I hope this is making sense. This information literally took me from quitting and hating doing hair to falling back in love with what I do and earning and being paid what I deserve to be paid. But I had to first reflect. I had to first work on myself, and I had to first study and understand, well, if this is the type of client I want to attract, how can I be of value to this type of client? You have to first understand that before you begin to attract these clients. So this was a introduction to this topic. If y'all aren't already following Sitting Pretty Pro, you're definitely behind, sis, because I'm gonna be going in over there. Y'all can expect to see courses. You can expect to see different ebooks and things like that, where I'm not just going to be breaking down the concepts, but I'm going to give y'all the full on blueprint. Here's what I did at point A. Here's what I did at point B. Here's what I did at point C. Because I understand, especially in these times, you don't have time to sit there and guess. Nobody has time to guess. So I'm going to be giving it to y'all straight. But this is crucial because it's going to make or break your business. But you first have to it's a process, y'all. This is a process. So if you learned anything from this live stream, comment it below. If you have any questions regarding this topic, drop them below. And then I'm going to go ahead and bow out gracefully. Hi. I'm gonna bow out gracefully, y'all. I'm gonna bow out. Drop one thing you learned from this stream in the comments. Okay, it don't seem like y'all learned nothing. So I'm gonna bow out. I know you did, but some of y'all again, if you got the scarcity frequency, you can't like a video for free. You can't drop a comment. You can't super chat, y'all. You just here for entertainment because the first thing you have to do is invest into yourself and your clients. You can't even do free stuff that I don't know what to tell you. You gonna be on Indeed looking for a receptionist job somewhere. You won't be building no sustainable business in 2022. That's just the reality. Because I had to invest. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to y'all later. Make sure you follow and subscribe to Sit and Pretty Pro.